On a cold winter night in 1692, in the small Puritan village of Salem, Massachusetts, a strange fear began to spread. Imagine being part of a community where even a neighbor's suspicious glance or a child's unexplained illness could brand you as an ally of the devil. Within months, this fear grew into one of the most infamous witch hunts in history, the Salem Witch Trials. More than 200 people were accused of practicing witchcraft. 19 were executed by hanging, 1 was crushed to death under heavy stones, and many more languished in prison. It was not simply a story of witches, it was a story of fear, religion, and politics colliding in a way that destroyed lives and left a scar on American history. To understand Salem in 1692, we need to picture the world the Puritans lived in. Massachusetts was a place where faith ruled daily life, and the Puritans believed the devil was constantly at work. The memory of deadly smallpox outbreaks, wars with Native American tribes, and political uncertainty weighed heavily on the colony. Life was fragile, harsh, and uncertain. Salem itself was divided between 2 communities, Salem Village, a poorer farming settlement, and Salem Town, a wealthier port connected to global trade. These social and economic tensions created mistrust, and in such an atmosphere, fear could easily take root. The first spark came in the household of Reverend Samuel Parris. His daughter Betty and his niece Abigail began experiencing strange fits. They screamed, convulsed, and claimed unseen forces were attacking them. Terrified, the community believed the only explanation was witchcraft. The girls named 3 women as witches: Tituba, an enslaved woman of Caribbean origin; Sarah Good, a poor beggar; and Sarah Osborne, a woman who lived outside the rigid Puritan norms. These women were already considered outsiders, and now, under pressure, Tituba confessed. She spun stories of strange visions, dark figures, and dealings with the devil. Whether she was protecting herself or simply feeding the villagers' fears, her words set off a chain reaction that no one could stop. As weeks passed, accusations multiplied. Neighbors turned on neighbors, sometimes out of genuine fear, other times out of personal rivalry. Land disputes and old grudges suddenly found new weapons through witchcraft accusations. By the summer of 1692, more than 150 people had been jailed. Special courts were created, and judges relied on something called spectral evidence. If someone claimed they saw the spirit of an accused person tormenting them in a dream or vision, it was accepted as proof in court. In today's world, it may sound absurd, but back then, a dream was enough to send someone to the gallows. The executions began with Bridget Bishop, a woman known for her colorful clothing and independent spirit. She was hanged on June 10, 1692. More soon followed: Rebecca Nurse, a respected grandmother; Martha Corey, who had dared to doubt the trials; and John Proctor, who boldly spoke against the hysteria. Perhaps the most tragic case was Giles Corey, who refused to plead guilty or innocent. To force a confession, the court pressed him with heavy stones. For 2 agonizing days he lay under the weight, his only words being, "More weight." He died without ever confessing. By the time the hysteria ended, 19 had been hanged and 1 crushed to death, while others wasted away in crowded prison cells. But beneath the surface, the trials were never just about witchcraft. Religion fueled much of the fear, as Puritan ministers like Cotton Mather warned of Satan's hand in the colony. Politics also played a role, since Massachusetts had recently lost its royal charter, leaving leaders desperate to show control. Social divisions were equally important. Many accusers came from the poorer farming side of Salem, while many of the accused came from the more prosperous merchant side. The trials became a reflection of deeper class struggles, where faith, fear, and power mixed into a deadly storm. By the autumn of 1692, doubts began to spread. Some ministers questioned the reliability of spectral evidence, and when even the governor's wife was accused of witchcraft, the panic could no longer be ignored. The special court was dissolved, and by 1693, those still imprisoned were released. In the years that followed, public apologies were made, and Judge Samuel Sewall himself stood before his congregation to confess guilt and ask for forgiveness. But for the families who lost loved ones, the damage could never truly be undone. The Salem Witch Trials remain one of the darkest chapters in American history. They remind us of how quickly fear can turn into hysteria, how authority can be abused when society abandons reason, and how communities can destroy themselves when suspicion takes the place of truth. Even centuries later, echoes of Salem can be felt in the Red Scare of the 1950s, in conspiracy panics, and in moments when fear outweighs justice. The story of Salem is not just about witches. It is about people, power, and paranoia.